We're owned by, that's better, Disney, Fox, and Comcast. So 3 joint ventures. We really couldn't exist without the support of those media companies because now we have current TV, we have last night's TV basically that you can stream all in one place. So we're really excited to be able to share that with people and, of course, expand our market. But today what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is I'll just give you a little information on what our company is. We'll talk about why communication matters at Hulu, especially at this point in our life cycle. How our intranet speaks hooligan, so in terms of customization, look and feel, and what we hope to achieve in our intranet space, and how we're socializing that. And we'll give you a little tour of what we call Huluverse, and that's our intranet site. And then we'll just talk about what we've learned so far since launch, which was December of last year. So just really quickly, again, just to level set you, and maybe some of you know this already. So this is our goal really is to help people find premium content wherever, whenever, however they want. So we're on pretty much every device out in the U.S. The Amazon Kindle or Fire was recently launched, and that was a big effort. Google Chromecast, Apple TV, all the PlayStation models, etc. We have 2 types of services that we offer. The free service is just on Hulu.com, and that's a handful of the current TV shows. But by being a Hulu Plus subscriber for $7.99 a month, similar to Netflix, but you have access to full seasons and back episodes as well. We just started our Hulu Plus subscription about 2.5 years ago. And so in a short amount of time, we've really climbed to 6 million subscribers, and we're growing for about 3 years now. And we hope to go to 7 million by the end of this year. This is a segment, a cross-section of what we offer on the site. So we have current TV, library, Hulu originals. We have a specific Latino channel, and we have film as well. And just like Netflix, we are in the originals market, and we're starting to expand and grow that as well. So we have some of our own shows. The one at the bottom here, this is called The Housewives of Orlando, and that's a parody show on all the reality shows that are out there now, and it's really funny, and we're launching that in so we are projecting a 39% headcount growth through the rest of this year. And we're at about 750 worldwide right now. So we're going to grow. We're probably going to pass the 1,000 mark. And so we're looking at scalability. And as we look at our intranet, we want to make sure that that is going to grow with us seamlessly and effortlessly as well. As I mentioned, we're about 750, and we are located across the United States. Our headquarters is in Los Angeles and Santa Monica. We have some sales offices scattered throughout the U.S., and we have the development areas in Seattle and Beijing. So those are our tech development groups. So let's talk about the business case, why we decided to create an intranet in the first place. Did we have one? Kinda, sorta, maybe. This will probably look familiar to some of you who are contemplating an intranet rebrand, relaunch, what have you. But we really had a lot of disparate areas where we were, we started in 2007. We were kind of a scrappy startup kind of feel. And being a dev environment, we had people creating solutions on the fly all the time. So it was like a patchwork quilt of places that we had, for example, this was our old intranet. It was kind of a homegrown site, and it was built by an intern team in Beijing. And then the Beijing team left, the intern team, and then we didn't really have any way to control it or manipulate it in any way. So we also had some of these open-ended areas where we needed to communicate something, but we were just putting it on an open splash page. It didn't have any threaded through line to it. We have, a wiki here that the devs use, and we had, sort of another wiki that we had our HR information on. So there was a lot of fragmented pieces out there, a lot of places for people to mine information. And nobody knew where to go. So, our intranet, the main business focus was about creating efficiencies. So internal communications was actually a new department that was formed about 1.5 years ago, and previously existed in the HR function. So all of these different mechanisms that I just mentioned, we kind of wanted to take that and apply it into our intranet solution and be able to then sort of ripple out from there to get everybody up to speed on what was going on, and then have that be a check-in point before they launch into their day-to-day and their specific apps. So as most people do in internal communications, we conducted a survey, but we wanted to specifically focus on needs. So we asked people, what kind of information are you wanting to receive, or what are you missing, or what do you need more of or less of? And this is also an interesting point in Hulu's career trajectory, because last year we were up for sale. The joint venture partners decided, let's put this up on the market and see what we can get for it. Turns out they didn't end up selling. We stayed. But we had sort of a switching around of our leadership teams, and then as a result, we've got new people coming on board. So we almost kind of use that to our advantage in a way, because people are coming in, from a fresh slate, and we're able to then service those needs. But at the same time that was happening, we're also looking at an opportunity where we're growing out of our startup phase from 2007 to now, and we're coming into maturity as a company. So the professional growth and leadership and development opportunities were really in high demand. They wanted to stay connected to our leaders as we were moving things around. They wanted to have opportunities with jobs, et cetera. So all of this was telling us kind of what we needed to focus on. So we kind of categorized that into 5 buckets. We talked about centralized information was key. Having an editorial and video component, so the ability to showcase storytelling and be able to connect in that way was also important. Contacts, tying that all together. Like I said, we had it off on the side. And then an all-in-one search is critical, because if you can't thread all this information together, you're kind of missing the point. And then a place to service event calendars and talk about what each office is doing in specific locations. And above all that, we needed to have this fit our Hulu culture. And as I showed you earlier, we like to have fun. I mean, I'm kind of representing our culture here with my Hulu green pants. I've got my cons on. This is a typical, well, maybe not this shirt, but this is a typical, environment where the landscape is very casual. We all sit together. We don't have office spaces, but we all commune together in common areas. So how do you translate that into an intranet? Well, you start by talking to your people and conducting focus groups. So we met with most of our bigger population offices, and where we couldn't physically go, we had conference calls, and we pulled out key stakeholders. We really wanted to understand, what does a culture mean? Let's put some design comps up on the board, and let's really get people involved and engaged, because they're going to end up, adopting this and using this from the get-go. So you really want to invest in your people, rather than just drive sort of a goal or priority forward and then say, okay, you guys have to do this now. And by talking to the people, it was really clear to me, and this is something that I thought of when I came over, is like, well, people are used to, we have a younger population, and I know not everybody has the advantage of this, but they're used to social tools. They're used to Twitter, they're used to Facebook, they're used to conversing and having a dialogue. So by having a social intranet, we're able to continue to open that dialogue with people at all levels, just as we sit together in the same space. So we're starting to see ties, and we're starting to see how this is all going to work digitally. So now let's talk about Huluverse. So we launched 5 months ago. We signed a contract with Igloo last July. We tried to capture that celebrative moment, and on launch day, our team went together. We had balloons in the offices. We happened to have bagel and donuts offered that day, so that was even a better communal experience for people to come in. We passed out some coasters, little cork coasters that had our Huluverse URL, and then 4 or 5 different taglines about things that you could do: share, connect, communicate. And then these Pilsner mugs we designed just for our key partners that really helped invest in this project. And so here we go. We're going to take a little tour of the Huluverse. So right up at launch, you have your homepage carousel, which is something that we never had before, and we were able to share top news and information here. So that was really important. Then we talked about the photo wall. So we now have a digital space for the photo wall. And by the way, all of this customization you see here, while we changed the pixel dimensions and the colors and such, it's all really built on the Igloo platform, which allowed us to be very versatile in terms of pulling widgets together and making this all work seamlessly. So the photo wall is, you pop up and you can see and browse through everybody's digital photo all in one space. We launched a Perspectives blog channel. So again, connecting with leaders, connecting with people. This is the opportunity for people to go in and talk about team culture, projects, things that are happening in the area. For launch, we actually had a moderated blog channel. So we saw the submissions come through, and then we kind of, we never held any of them back, but sometimes there'd be a little bit of a two-way dialogue before we posted it. Well, just last week, we actually lifted the moderation. So we've seen a great example of other, we have a stockpile of blog posts since we launched, and we've also seen a lot of traffic in terms of our microblog feeds. So we're like, it's going to police itself, right? Your name is attached to your avatar. Everything is representing what you are and who you are. So we're really excited about that, and we've taken steps to kind of identify just a quick step-by-step on how to post your blog. And this is probably our hottest spot on the site right now, and it's right in the front and center. It's called the Buzz, and this is a microblog widget. So you can go in and just really connect with everybody around the world. You can leave messages. You can @mention people in this system, which is like digitally tapping their shoulder, basically. And then through the notification system, you're able to have that stream through your email. So you're on a BlackBerry or iPhone, you can be notified. And then finally, the HR wiki that I had mentioned earlier is captured in our resources section. And this is a wiki with multiple wiki pages, but it's broken down by location. So now visibility is great because you can, people travel around the offices. You can just click on the office that you're going to, and then it's an A to Z index of everything that applies to that office. Plus, if you're sitting in Seattle and you want to know the conference room, but you also want to know like your benefits, what we've done is taken the widget that's wiki-based and aggregated like 3 different channels all in one. So that's a huge win. The other thing too is our Beijing office, poor guys, they didn't have any context or relevancy with our other wiki because it didn't speak to them. Now they can put it in their own language, they can monitor and authorize that channel, and it's all kind of working seamlessly together. So we're sending people to one central spot. We have the all-in-one search at the very top here, so it tracks everything that's across the community, which is really exciting. So we're about 6 months after launch, and we're still looking at our roadmap that we've outlined, and that was mentioned earlier. Oh, that was an earlier session. But it's really important to kind of look at not just the launch day and getting you there, but like, what does the year ahead look like for you? What are some things that you can milestone down the road and plan so that, you're still going to be listening to your team and feedback, obviously, but you also want to go in and sort of have a plan beyond that, because if you just let it go and then it becomes stale, it's not going to really help with your change management strategy as much. So we've been trying some things along the way, and there's other things where we've been working with Igloo to identify what their roadmap needs are and then kind of implementing that into a communication strategy for ourselves that worked. So, for example, the like button was not available at launch. It was something that everybody, kind of is expecting in a social environment. That was something that they were just planning to launch shortly after the new year. So we put a communications plan around it. We kind of did it a you asked, we listened kind of thing, and it worked for us, and people really enjoyed it, and it's continuing to, get lots of traffic. And then liking is a great way for people to engage on a more of a passive level, because they're not putting themselves out there and making a comment or saying it one way or the other, but they're showing a affinity for it. So after 90 days, we decided to run a contest on our new carousel that we had never used before, previously. So we had a kind of who wants to go visit the set of one of our originals, Quick Draw, which is an improv comedy cowboy show. And so we had everybody just leave a comment, drop a comment, and tell us why you want to go visit the set. And we picked a name at random, and then we followed up with a story and a kind of a video profile of their experience, and that went over really well because everybody likes to see themselves on video. And then we also, I mentioned Upfront, which is a sales opportunity every year that most networks participate in New York. They sell ad space for the fall, TV shows, and so we're there as well, obviously, because ads are a part of Hulu's business plan. And we created sort of an all-in-one aggregate page, so we were able to do this so quickly because we had all the drag-and-drop widgets. We were able to push updates, simultaneously as things were happening. We sort of had that live tweet experience where everybody sent stuff to me, but then I could post on behalf of others. And it really was really effective. We got a lot of information and story out. And people, this was a huge win in terms of educating folks on what an upfront is, because it's kind of a complex process. But here you had context, and you weren't leaving your intranet. So it's driving value into your intranet through different mechanisms and different ways and solutions. And this one's really exciting to me because this was an easy, low-hanging fruit. You know, people want to come in and they want to get involved in terms of your culture, and maybe you have social clubs or volunteering or whatnot. This is a way to allow that to live on your corporate intranet, which is kind of a crazy concept, but this all runs itself. So Hulu Clubs was launched about a month ago, and we had maybe 10 or 15 that we knew of that were running on just an email alias. So it would be like hikes@hulu.com, and everybody gets this giant thread, and it's like, you know, there's no context, you know, you just kind of, you get reply all and everything. So now what we've done is we've listed the clubs on a directory page, and there's 22 now. We have a form where you can complete to create a new club space, and now you have calendaring, you have microblogs, you have all this context built in, and you enable join requests in this system. So you can casually look around and just kind of see what clubs are available, but you can also join one and become engaged. You'll get listed in the member roster, and then you now have the ability to kind of read and write to the system. So that's been really successful. We're continuing to get join requests daily. They come to me, and then I kind of get to mark them and approve them into my queue. So let's just talk about lessons learned, things that you might consider. One thing I think is really important to understand is your timeline. So a lot of times you're going to talk to your intranet vendors, you know, as you do your research, and they're going to say, we can deploy this in 5-6 weeks, no problem. And they probably could, but what is that going to yield for you? So I mentioned earlier, you know, you really need to know your audience, engage with them. Some of you are coming from a space, too, where you're not going to have a built-in culture, and that's a little challenging, that's a little tricky, and I realize that. We took advantage of the opportunity that we did have that culture, we did have that space, and we really wanted that to be a reflection in our intranet. Celebrate your roosters was the other one there. This was something I heard at one of the other social intranet tours, but it really resonated with me. And it's about really engaging your high performers, the people that are passionate about this, the people that want to share and make a difference. But you also, of course, have to realize that there's some people that are going to sit on the sidelines, and they're going to be your naysayers, and you want to make sure you're engaging them as well. But the roosters then become your ambassadors, and I would say that all of our club leaders right now are complete Huluverse ambassadors because it works for them, it makes sense to them, it's reality for them. And now, all of a sudden, we have about 22, 23 individual calendar contributors, et cetera, that previously only our team was doing. So the knowledge is out there, and they're sharing their enthusiasm with everybody. Scalable solutions are key. So we're going to grow, you're going to grow, hopefully your company's going to grow, and you want to make sure you're equipped with the tools necessary for scaling. I knew that my team did not know HTML, did not know JavaScript. I mean, I have a pretty good understanding of that, but I'm not going to be there every time to help them move things around or make edits. So again, going back to the solution that we chose, it was all widget-based and had individualized editing capabilities and control features. So we were able to really move things around quickly. If something's not working in your social intranet, it's great because you just take it off. You know, you can really respond to it. It's not like some other sites where you're going to have a dev team and you're going to have an on-prem service and then you're going to have to chip away with it, like literally with an ice pick, you know? So that was really good. Meet your audience. I kind of drilled that into death, but it's so true. Get early buy-in from key stakeholders. Talk to your leaders. Do your one-on-one road shows, and hold your focus groups. And lastly, or actually second to last, show them it can be fun. So we talked about culture. It's important to convey that in your business if you have one. And we talked about the like button. But the passionate part, I think, is the most important, I think. And for me, my whole job, the entire last year, my goals were to launch this intranet. So the company, the leaders in our team actually realized that, to do this right, we're going to have dedicated resources. Some of you may be asked to do this and then to do 5 other things on the side. So they recognized that this was something that they really needed to get right. And when you're doing it, you need to really kind of put your heart into it, and it's going to show in your product at the end, I think.